Okay, well, thank you very much, Rama, and it's great to be with everyone today. I know that it's 4:03 p.m. in Singapore, and here in Brisbane, where I am, it is 6:03 in the evening. So we're just two hours ahead of you. So it's quite convenient. The relationship between Singapore and Brisbane, because we do have a very similar time zone. And you can see the picture behind me here. This is actually not my apartment or my house, but I am in Brisbane. But this is an image of the Brisbane River and the Brisbane city behind me. So you can see we have a beautiful city that we're very lucky to live in. Very nice weather all year. And also just down the road from Brisbane is another city called the Gold Coast, which you may have heard of. So it's only about 1 hour down. You know, if I jump in my car right now, I can be in the Gold Coast in about 1 hour. So it's two places which are kind of connected. And my university is in both places, both Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So maybe I will try to share my screen and see if I can bring up my PowerPoint, and then Rama, you tell me if it's looking good. Okay. How's that,
yes.
Rama?
Yes, it's good to go.
Great. All right. So as you can see there, my name is Ben Fenton Smith. So if I'm talking to any of you personally, just call me Ben. At my university, we have a very personal connection with the students. We don't want to be too formal at Griffith University. We want to have a close connection with the students. That's something that makes us a little bit different to a lot of other universities, where maybe they say, oh, Professor Fenton Smith, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, at Griffith, first name, okay, Ben. And if you study at my university, I'm going to know you by your first name, and I'm going to call you, you know, Rama, or whatever your name is. And we've won quite a lot of teaching awards. In fact, our university has won more teaching awards than any other university in Australia. So that's an indication to you of the kind of relationship we like to establish with our students. So the title of my talk is Break into the Career in Criminology and Criminal Justice at Griffith University. So do you see the joke, Rama, in the title? Did you get it? You're laughing. That's good to see. What's the joke in my title, Rama? Come on, jump in.
You can explain to us.
Oh, okay. As you can see, my teaching style is very interactive, which is another part of the Griffith experience. We don't like to just give a lecture where we just talk at you 100% of the time. If you come to this university, you will be included as a speaker in the class, back and forth with the instructor. So Rama did not know that I was going to ask her that question. That's why she was put on the spot.
Yes. I wasn't expecting this. Yes.
Oh my God, what's happening? Anyway, so of course the joke in the title is break into. All right, you know, if you break into someone's house, that's a crime. Okay, break into someone's shop, that's a crime. So unfortunately, there is a lot of crime in most societies of the world. I know that Singapore is maybe the most safe country on earth, perhaps. I did live in Japan for many, many years, and the Japanese always used to tell me, we are the most safe country in the whole world, you know. But even in Japan, there was crime. So crime takes many different shapes and sizes, and it's everywhere. So that's good in a way, in one way, because it means there's actually a lot of work and a lot of jobs for people who study crime. So I'm not sure if you've ever watched, you know, TV shows about crime and how crime is investigated and how crime is studied and this sort of thing, and how people can maybe turn around their life after they've been involved in crime. But all of these things are included in what we call criminology and criminal justice. So at my university, Griffith University, this is a really big topic, big school, as I'm going to talk about. In other countries, maybe people haven't thought about it so much, but I really think that it's a good area to get into if you're the kind of person who's interested in changing our current society. But as I said, the advantage is there's a lot of jobs, a lot of work for students of criminology. So I'm going to give you a bit of information about our program, our school, and also our university and where we're based. Okay, so we are, firstly, one of the largest criminology schools, not just in Queensland, not just in Australia, but in the whole world. Okay, so we've got about 40 academic staff. We're based over 2 campuses, and we also have a research centre as part of our school, and that's called the Griffith Criminology Institute. So if you hear me say GCI, I'm talking about the Griffith Criminology Institute. On that slide there, you can see on the left-hand side, Rama, what is that place? I'm going to put you on the spot again.
Is it the campus? You're
Yes,
asking
do you know
about
the name of the city?
Campus?
You know the Gold Coast. Very good. So on the left, on the top, is the city of the Gold Coast that I talked about. So as you can see, great place to live because it's got beautiful beaches, beautiful ocean, a lot of water, a lot of sunshine. So great place to study, and you can see an image of the campus there as well. Okay, so students at Griffith get the opportunity to not only study in the biggest school, but also the most established school of criminology in Australia. What I mean by that is we were the first and we're the oldest. So we've been doing this longer than anyone else, and we've got bigger and bigger and bigger. And that means that, you know, we've got a lot of projects going on, and we've got a lot of external stakeholders. So that means, you know, organizations from the criminology world are involved with us. So if you come and study with us, you get to connect with these organizations. Just to give you an example of how big we are, I'll just give you a few sort of facts and figures to compare us with some other universities. So another university in Queensland is called Queensland University of Technology. Their criminology school has about 20 academic staff. We've got 45, okay? If you go down to Melbourne, there's a big university there called Monash. They have around 16 staff, okay? University of Queensland have about 10, okay? So we've got 45. Even if you go over to America, a big criminology school in America, it's called USA Rutgers. They have around 25 staff, okay? Or go over to Canada, Simon Fraser University, another big criminology school, about 30 staff, okay? Go to England, go to UCL, which is another big criminology school, around 30 staff. So you can see with 45 at Griffith, you can get an idea of the size of the program. Okay. Another thing that we really like about our school is its diversity. Okay, so you're not just going to be studying with Australians. If you come and study at the Griffith School, we've got academics who have come from USA, Canada, UK, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, Trinidad, New Zealand, the list goes on. So academics from all around the world, which gives you that really international experience from the teaching staff. So you get really great exposure to a variety of perspectives into criminology and criminal justice, because all these academics have different areas of expertise, and all of them have amazing international networks in the criminology world. So they're going to be sort of connecting you with their networks, which sets you up for a career once you finish. And of course, that gives you a much richer study experience. Okay, so on the left there is the current head of school. Her name is Danielle Reynolds, and she is actually from Trinidad and Tobago. We regard ourselves as the elite school of criminology in Australia. That's not just me saying that, but It's also proven by the assessments that we've received from outside. So we're the only school which is rated well above world standard. That's called ERA 5. It's the technical term in the Australian evaluation system. We're the only school rated well above world standard, earning the school the highest recognition possible on research performance in criminology and criminal justice. So we've got those results on the board. Another thing is that because we have this GCI, what we call the Griffith Criminology Institute, you get to work with the best researchers in criminology. And that means that as a student, you're going to be connected into research projects. So you'll actually be a participant and you get to conduct research projects. And these are projects that have real global impact on crime. Okay, so not just talking about projects that we're doing just as a kind of academic exercise, but projects that have actual impact. So just to give you an idea of some of the topics that you might deal with: police well-being, online child sexual exploitation. As you can see, pretty heavy topics, some of these. Domestic violence is another one. Okay, so serious topics and serious projects. Here's an example of one of our international alumni, and his name is Taylor Reeve. So he came to us from Canada. So we have a good mix of local students. We also have international students. Taylor Reeve studied with us, graduated 2014. Now he's a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And as you can see there, he's saying a lot of good things about his experience with us. He says after nearly 4 years of trying to be a Mountie, that was his dream, he finally made it. How did he do it? Well, partly because, he says he was grateful for the connection that he got to make with a Queensland police officer while studying at our Gold Coast campus. He's still in communication with the police officer, extremely grateful for his help in facilitating that connection. So, that's just an example of someone who came to us from overseas, studied with us, and then was able to go back to, just make sure I'm following the time, going back to his country and getting a great career. Something else that we pride ourselves on is the student experience. If you come and study criminology, or really if you study anything, of course, you want to have a great experience as a student. You want to have a good time. You don't just want to spend all your time with your head in the books, So if you're coming to Griffith, don't worry, we've got everything set up in terms of stuff for you to do as a student and activities that are going to make sure you're making a lot of friends. So we have what we call the Criminology Student Society, the CSS. Some of the things that they do: prison tours. Sounds like kind of weird, doesn't it? But actually, it's quite interesting. All right, actually go to real prisons and see what goes on there. Police academy. Okay, we're talking about the real police academy here, where people train to become the police. There's an annual ball, the Criminology Student Society annual ball. You can see the students there in the top right corner, all dressed up for this big event. Courts tours. So you get to go to the courts because we're studying that criminal justice system. How does that happen in the court? Okay. Night of crime, special night where we've got some talks about really interesting crime events that have gone on locally and internationally. Put you in connection with the QPS Dog Squad. QPS stands for the Queensland Police Service. So if you like dogs, you like animals, they're part of the crime world as well. All right, Boggo Road Jail. Boggo Road Jail is no longer a real jail in Queensland, but it used to be. So it's no longer functioning, but it's a historical place in Brisbane, very famous because so many famous criminals, were stuck in Boggo Road. I actually went there myself with my kids, fascinated to see how people used to exist in Boggo Road in a real jail. kind of scary, but also fascinating. So we get to go there. And, you know, just lots and lots of different things. So the Criminology Student Society is just a really great way to get active outside the program, but also be making connections in the field. All right, people, no matter what they study, they want to know, what kind of job can I get? Okay, how can I break into a career? There's so many things that you can do from criminology. I'm going to show you a list on the next 2 slides of several things, but this is not the only things. And most of these I'm talking about organizations within Australia, but there are the same type of organizations in every country. So we're talking about careers in Australian police agencies or overseas police agencies, like we saw with our friend Taylor Reeve from Canada, went back and worked in the Canadian Police Agency. Department of Child Safety, Youth and Women, very important work. How are we keeping kids safe? Women, you know, unfortunately, domestic violence, domestic abuse is a big issue in many countries. Youth, you know, youth crime. How does that come about? What are the reasons behind it? How can we make sure they don't go off the rails? How can we get them back to, you know, becoming productive members of society? Child protection, corrective services, of course, security agencies. This is a huge thing in every country now with, you know, we're talking about how one country, for example, spies on another country, but also how governments are checking what's going on within their own country. You know, are there terrorist groups getting involved inside a country, for example? So jobs in this field are big. Governments are spending a lot of money on it. Department of Justice and Attorney, massive department in the government. In our case, we have an Australian border control. Most countries have this as well. You know, a service or an organization, government organization that's patrolling the borders, checking, you know, are people trying to, you know, maybe get into a country without the correct, you know, visas and this type of thing, or maybe people are just sort of doing illegal activities offshore, that kind of thing, or within airports. The Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission, Australian Institute of Criminology. Maybe you're the kind of person who's interested in statistics. You know, that's another part of criminology that appeals to many people. So there we have, for example, the Queensland Government Statistician's Office. Criminologists often manipulate data and statistics in interesting ways to see what's going on in society. And that's a skill that you can take from a criminology degree and use it in many different jobs, even if it's not a criminology type of job. Domestic and family violence support services, which I've referred to before, and of course, universities. You know, maybe you get an academic career or something like that in the future, or work in a research institute. So a lot of career opportunities coming out of criminology these days. Okay, so that just about brings me to the conclusion of the discussion. But this slide shows you how you can get in touch with Griffith University if you are interested in this area. Maybe write down that email address, international@griffith.edu, or you can get in touch with me. My address was at the beginning of the presentation. And of course, you can get in touch with us through IDP Singapore as well. So that is the conclusion of my presentation. I might go back to that one just to give you a little bit more time if you want to see it. But that's all from me. And I think we have a little bit of time for Q&A if we want to. I might stop my share at that point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ben. It's a very insightful session. So far, I can see any questions here, but I do have one question for you. So the career choices which you have shown in your slide, I just wanted to check with you. Is it available for everyone, or just Australian citizens, or like international students can also apply for these jobs?
Yeah, well, anyone can apply for these kinds of jobs. And of course, if you do a university degree, even as an international student in Australia, then we have what we call post-study work rights,
Yes, yes.
which allows you to work further in Australia. Now, whether you can get a government position or not in Australia, that might be, you know, a little bit more difficult if you're an international student to work in the, you know, government job. But what I would like to draw attention to from those, I guess, those jobs is, in that case, a lot of them were Australian institutions, but the same institutions are in every country. So
that's true.
Think about whether you want to study criminology and then stay in Australia and try to maybe eventually become Australian, in which case you would be going into those types of jobs as, you know, a new Australian, so to speak. But think about any country. Like if you're from Singapore and you came here and then you went back to Singapore, all of those same organizations exist in Singapore. If you're from India and you studied criminology and you returned to India, all of those same jobs, you know, basically the same organizations exist in India. Because as I said, crime is a funny thing. It's everywhere. It's in every country. So every country is dealing with it in different ways.
Yes.
So that's what I would say about that. I mean, some of the jobs that we often talk about are things like intelligence analyst. You know, every country is looking for smart undergraduates, I mean, smart graduates of programs to become intelligence analysts. Project officer, police officer, child safety officer. You know, every country has a jail system, you know, so they're universal jobs, jobs. And maybe I should also mention that as part of this, you know, if you study our Bachelor of Criminology and Criminal Justice, which is our most prestigious program, Bachelor, we sometimes call it BCCJ, Bachelor of Criminology and Criminal Justice. When you study that, in each year, so it goes for, you know, year 1, year 2, year 3. In each year, we have a special course which develops your career. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're a local Australian or you're an international student. It's all, the course is about how you establish your career. So in year 1, the course is called Developing Professionally 1. Okay? And introduce you to the career idea. When you get into year 2, it's called Developing Professionally 2. And then when you go to year 3, we have a course which is called Professional Practice. Okay, in fact, we've got 2 similar courses. One is called Professional Practice, and the other one is called Community Internship and Partnerships. Okay? In both of these courses, in the 3rd year, you get to actually go into an organization. So it's like you're a real worker. Okay, we find an organization. Of course, you're not getting paid because you're a student, but they will accept you as a Griffith University student. You do a placement and you're spending quite a lot of hours. I can give you the number of hours. So in the professional practice course, you spend at least 90 hours for 12 weeks. So that means 1 day a week, so about 7.5 hours a day, 1 day a week in an organization, okay? As well as taking some classes about what's going on in the organization. And in the other one, the community internship and partnership course, you do a minimum 50 hours in a volunteer organization. So this way you come out of the program, you already have some experience in an organization and something to put on your resume.
Yes, and I think it's very important to have a little bit of experience along with your qualification. It enhances your chances to get the job, or let's say you definitely, if you are moving back to your home country, you still can say that, yes, I have worked with particular organization. So I think it definitely boosts the chances of getting job.
Absolutely. You've got something to put on your resume. You know, obviously you put Bachelor of Criminology and Criminal Justice, Griffith University. That's good. The employer says, right, you've been to the top, criminology university in Australia, one of the top in the world, plus you've got that work experience. Okay, so, Annika, Edmund, Helen, I can see your names there. Maybe imagine yourself in the future with that resume, and you're already, ready. Plus, the other thing is, the connections that I mentioned. When you're in a program, you want to be making those connections while you're in the program, and that's where our instructors help you, because they've got so many industry connections that they're already introducing you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Ben. And I think we are running out of time now. Thank you so much. It was really very informative and very good session. Thanks a lot.
It's my absolute pleasure, and look forward to hearing from anyone who is in the audience in the future.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.